The cold hits me before my eyes even open. I am lying on a bed of broken rock, and the wind is cutting through my thin, wet scales like knives. I am only minutes old, and already I know something is wrong. I can hear wings above me, the heavy beat of my own kind flying away, leaving me behind. I try to call out, but my voice is weak, barely a whisper against the storm. I turn my head and see the shapes of my brothers and sisters, already strong, already accepted, disappearing into the gray sky with the elders. No one looks back. No one waits for me. I am the last egg to hatch, and the smallest. My wings are folded wrong against my back, twisted in a way that even I can tell is not right. The matriarch had circled me twice before flying off, her eyes cold, her judgment final. A hatchling who cannot fly is a hatchling who cannot survive. That is the law of my kind. I have been carried to the bone cliffs, the place where the weak are left to end quietly, away from the nesting grounds, so the others do not have to watch. I curl into myself, trying to hold in what little warmth I have left. The sky above me is turning a strange color, not the deep gray of a storm, but a burning orange, like something is falling through it. I do not understand what I am seeing until the sound reaches me, a scream of metal and fire, growing louder every second. I do not have time to move. A shape crashes into the cliffside, barely 20 feet from where I lie, throwing up rock and dust and a wave of heat that rolls over me like a wall. The ground shakes so hard I am thrown onto my side. When the dust settles, I see a strange metal shell, torn open, smoke rising from a long gash in its side. I have never seen anything like it. It does not belong to my world. Something moves inside the wreck. My first thought is to run, but I cannot even stand, so I simply watch, frozen, as a shape crawls out from the twisted metal. It is small, standing on 2 legs, with skin instead of scales, and no wings at all. I have heard stories from the older dragons about creatures like this, skywalkers who came from beyond the stars in their metal birds. I always thought they were just stories told to frighten hatchlings. Now one is lying only a few steps away from me, breathing hard, blood on his arm, coughing from the smoke. He sees me before I can decide whether to hide. His eyes go wide, but he does not attack, and he does not run. He simply stares, the way I imagine I am staring at him. For a long moment, neither of us moves. Then he says something in a language I do not understand, but his voice is not angry. It is soft, almost careful, the way you speak to something you do not want to scare away. The wind picks up again, sharp and freezing, and I cannot stop myself from shivering. He notices. He drags himself closer, wincing with every movement, and pulls a torn piece of cloth from the wreck of his ship. He wraps it loosely around me, careful not to touch my injured wing. I do not understand why he is helping me. Every instinct in my small body tells me this should not be happening. Creatures from the sky are supposed to be dangerous, but his hands are gentle, and his eyes keep checking mine, as if he is asking permission with every movement. Night comes fast on the cliffs, and with it, a cold that could kill both of us. He builds a small fire from broken pieces of his ship, using a device that sparks with a flick of his fingers. I watch, amazed, as light and warmth grow between us. He opens a metal pouch and takes out a strip of dried food, breaking it in half. He eats one half. The other, he holds out to me. I do not know what to do. Dragons do not share food with skywalkers. Skywalkers, if the stories are true, do not share food with anyone. But my body is starving, and the smell of the food is impossible to ignore. I take it carefully from his open hand, my claws barely touching his skin. He does not pull away. He only smiles, small and tired, like this moment means something to him too. We do not speak the same words, but somehow, through that night, we understand each other. When the cold grows worse, I move closer to him, letting whatever heat is left in my body pass to him, and he wraps his good arm around me in return. It is strange, this closeness between two creatures who were never supposed to meet, let alone trust one another. But out here, On the edge of the world, none of the old rules seem to matter anymore. By morning, his wounds look worse, but he is still awake, still watching over me. He finds a piece of broken metal from his ship and starts to examine my twisted wing, his fingers moving slowly, testing the joints. I flinch at first, expecting pain, but he stops immediately when I do, waiting until I settle before continuing. He is not looking at me the way the matriarch did. He is not seeing something broken. He is looking closely, curiously, like he is trying to understand a puzzle rather than judge a failure. He begins to shape a splint from pieces of wreckage, wrapping it carefully around the bent part of my wing. As he works, he keeps talking, even though I cannot understand his words. His voice is steady, almost like he is explaining something important to me, or maybe just to himself. Later, I would understand that he was not looking at damage. He was looking at design. My wings were not like the wings of the elders, wide and heavy for slow, powerful flight. Mine were narrower, sharper at the edges, built for something faster, something no dragon had tried in generations. The peace between us does not last long. On the second day, the sky fills again, but this time, it is not fire falling from above. It is my own kind returning. I recognize the shapes instantly, scouts sent by the matriarch, their wings cutting sharp circles above the cliffs before they land in a half-circle around us. Their eyes are hard, their message clear. They have come to finish what the cliffs were meant to do. The human stands. He is injured, exhausted, and holds no weapon, but he places himself directly between me and the scouts without a moment of hesitation. I want to tell him to move, to save himself, but I have no way to make him understand. He does not need to understand. He simply stays where he is, arms slightly raised, refusing to step aside. The lead scout lowers her head, growling low, clearly confused by this small, wingless creature, standing his ground against something so much larger and stronger. She could end him with a single motion. Yet she hesitates, studying him the way one studies something unfamiliar and strange, something that does not fit into any pattern she has known before. The tension stretches long and silent, broken only by the wind moving across the cliffs. I feel something rise inside me, not fear this time, but frustration. I am tired of being decided for. I am tired of being carried to places I did not choose, judged by wings I never asked for. I push myself up, ignoring the ache in my splinted wing, and stand beside the human instead of behind him. The scout's eyes shift to me, surprised that I am standing at all. I spread my wings, slowly, testing the splint, testing myself. Pain flashes through the joint, sharp and immediate, but I do not fold. Instead, I push off the ground, wings catching the wind in a way that feels nothing like what I have seen the elders do. There is no heavy, powerful glide. There is a quick, sharp lift, my body cutting through the air with a speed that surprises even me. I circle once above the scouts, my wings screaming with strain but holding, before landing hard beside the human again, breathing fast, but alive, and flying. The scouts stare in silence. Even the lead scout, who came here with the intention of ending my life without a second thought, now looks at me differently. What she called weakness only days ago, now looks like something else entirely, something none of them have words for yet. No one moves for a long moment. Then the scout lowers her head, not in attack, but almost in something like uncertain respect. She lets out a low sound, more curious than threatening, before turning and lifting off the cliffs, the rest of the scouts following close behind. They do not attack. They do not carry me away. They simply leave, taking with them a story none of them expected to bring back to the nesting grounds. I collapse beside the human once they are gone, my whole body shaking from exhaustion and relief. He kneels beside me immediately, checking my wing again, his hands as careful as before. I press my head gently against his side, and this time, there is no hesitation from either of us. Whatever separated our two kinds before this moment feels smaller now, less important than the simple fact that we survived because of each other. Over the following days, more of his people arrive, drawn by signals from his broken ship. They are careful around me at first, some nervous, some curious, but none of them treat me the way my own kind did. When it comes time for him to leave, to return to whatever world waits for him beyond the sky, I do not want to be left behind again. I make my choice clear, staying close, refusing to be separated, until finally, he understands, and so do the others with him. As the new ship rises from the cliffs, carrying us both away from the world that once left me to die, I look down at the bone cliffs one final time. I was born there, abandoned there, meant to end there. Instead, it became the place where everything began. My own kind saw a broken hatchling not worth saving. A single human, small and fragile compared to any dragon, saw something worth protecting instead. I do not know what waits for us among the stars, but for the first time since I opened my eyes on that cold, broken ground, I am not afraid of what comes next. I was forgotten by the ones who were supposed to protect me, but sometimes, being forgotten by your own kind is not the end of the story. Sometimes, it is only the beginning of a better one, written by someone who chose to stay when everyone else chose to fly away.